Hello people. So, I'm here to record my next top 10 video. This is actually going to be my last top 10 video for the year. This is going to be a new one. I've never done this one before. My top 10 first watches. Like, this is stuff I've watched for the first time in 2022. Number 10 would be Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates. I think is the name of the actual movie. I just call it Mike and Dave. This is a movie starring Zac Efron, Adam Devine, Aubrey Plaza, and Anna Kendrick. I wasn't prepared for how funny this movie was actually going to be. I don't really know if I've ever seen Zac Efron, like I watched Baywatch and I didn't like it. So I've never really seen Zac Efron, I guess, in a comedy that I liked before. Just a great time. I laughed so hard in this movie. It's definitely rated R, so I can't recommend it to everybody. Fun. If you're into rated R comedies, I'm really not, to be honest with you. I find them really stupid and really raunchy for no reason. And this one's definitely got some of that in it for sure. But overall, it was just really funny to me. So, number 9 would be The Greatest Showman, which also has Zac Efron in it. But this is a movie I've been meaning to watch for a long time. Just never got around to it. Everyone's talking about how, dude, when you were talking about a musical, you need to watch The Greatest Showman. And I love Hugh Jackman. Zendaya's great. Who else is in it? Isn't Rebecca Ferguson in it? It's got a great cast. Great music. I mean, I have the soundtrack downloaded, or at least some of them. I listen to them all the time. I was like, dude, I cannot believe it took me this long to watch The Greatest Showman. I'm pretty sure that it made me tear up. Like, it was great. The music was awesome, but also the story of Hugh Jackman and his family. I was like, at one point, I was pretty sure I was in tears a little bit. I'm like, dang. Number 8 would be the Austin Powers trilogy. I watched this whole trilogy in one day. I was stuck here at the house, and I've always heard they're funny movies, and I had nothing else to do. So I was like, I'll watch Austin Powers. I watched it, and this is my breakdown of these. I thought they got funnier every time, and I realized that's not what people tend to think. People think they get worse. So I'm thinking that, because I did not know what to expect, really. I knew they were supposed to be stupid, but like, dang. I think I got used to the feel, is what it was. Like, I watched the first one, and I was like, that's what everyone says is so great. I mean, it was funny and everything, but like, I watched the second one, and I laughed a lot more. So I'm thinking you're just kind of getting used to the world, getting used to the feel, the vibe, and like how these movies work. And then by the time I was watching the third one, I was laughing a lot. So I kind of think you just have to like get used to the movie. So I'm sure now if I was to rewatch them, I'd be like, yeah, the first one's definitely best. But like, I don't know. Mike Myers is hilarious in those movies. He plays like 15 different people. Number 7 is called Game Over Man. It's a Netflix movie led by them boys from Workaholics. You got Adam Devine, Blake Anderson, and Andres Holm, Kyle Newacek directing. And it's like, it's a Die Hard movie. You know, Die Hard is a genre. They work at a hotel, I think, and it gets hijacked, hostages, bombs, and they have to survive while trying, because there's a really rich person there, so they're there to like pitch an idea so they can like have their big break. It's one, I mean, I would assume it's still pretty funny, but if you haven't seen Workaholics, it might not be as well. You have to really get their chemistry, which is, I mean, it's obviously there. If it wasn't for Workaholics, I would not have watched this movie, because I remember it coming out. I remember hearing some things about it and being like, that does not sound like my kind of movie. And generally it's not, but yeah, more about that later. Number 6 would be Young Rock. I finally got to watch season 1 and 2. I think season 3 is coming out right now. When the Dwayne Johnson, when he first like started the show, I think I watched like the first episode, maybe the first 2, with my family when they had cable or whatever. I don't remember where we watched it. and they left me in the dust. It's whatever. I held no grudges. This year, I was like, you know what? I liked that episode that I watched, episode 2. So I watched season 1 and season 2, and it's really good. I really like that show. The most impressive thing about the show to me is the guy they have playing him as the adult, like the college age. He looks like him. He gets his facial expressions down. He dang near sounds just like the guy sometimes. And I just think it's so crazy. I love the stuff between Randall and Dwayne. It's so funny. And him running for president is just a funny thing, and it's something people talk about in real life, like when The Rock becomes president. I just think it's because The Rock's done so much, so he just kind of made it a meta thing. Number 5 would be Firefly and Serenity, the whole Firefly universe thing. It's pretty great. My whole life, my roommates, I've known them for a long time, before we were even roommates, and I've always heard them talk about Firefly. They're always talking about Firefly and how it got canceled and all this. And I never watched it. When I moved here, I actually had another roommate, and he was looking for a show to watch, so one of my other roommates recommends Firefly. He's like, it's short, it's only 1 season, and it's great. There's a season of a movie, that's it. So then that roommate got hooked. I mean, he binge watched it, and he's telling me, Steven, you'd like it. So whatever. But for some reason, I don't know why, this year, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna give Firefly a chance. And I binged it, maybe 2 weeks. I'd seen the whole show in a movie, and it's great. They're not wrong. It's awesome. So it's really good. You got Nathan Fillion leading it, which he's awesome anyways. It's just like, it's a space show, but it's also like a Western. And one thing that I always enjoyed of it was you have the minister there, the preacher, what do they call him? Shepherd. And like the other people, they might not share his views on faith, but they don't, like, the whole show doesn't like rag on it. And I just appreciate that when a show can like not, especially nowadays, which this show wasn't made nowadays, when you can like not rag on Christianity, because that's like a popular thing to do for some reason, because this world's made it seem like all Christians are just like horrible people. But I'm not gonna get into that. Number 4 is Glow on Netflix. This is a show I've had on my watch list for a while, ever since I watched Community, just because Alison Brie heads the show. And this year I finally decided I was gonna watch it. And it's another show I watched very fast. It's very good. It grabs you very early on. It's about a struggling actress who stumbles upon a all-women's wrestling, and they're trying to get this show up. And it's a time, I can remember when it takes place, the 80s, maybe. You know, some people, they're just not ready for an all-female thing, but they're trying to break through. And also, like, you're trying to get it put on TV, which is hard. And yeah, it's a great show. It's Alison Brie, what's the other name's Betty Gilpin, and then Mark Maron. And the first season is probably the best. I feel like I like the second season a lot. Third season I did not like that much, actually, to be honest with you. It's a very hard R, or TVMA or whatever. Number 3, being the top 3 now, it would be Spider-Man, the animated series from the 90s. I saw some of the show, you know, as a child, catch it on TV here and there. You have like a DVD that has like 5 episodes on it that you have to watch and repeat. But I never got to watch the whole thing. And at some point I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna watch this whole dang thing. It's only 5 seasons. It has become my favorite Spider-Man cartoon. I love the 90s feel. I love the look. I like a lot of the stories that it did. I thought the Secret Wars story was really cool. The Spider-Verse story was really cool. I love the stuff they did with Black Cat in that show. The Spot episode is great, and now he's gonna get more recognition because of the new movie coming out. And yeah, I loved it. It is a show that ends on a bad note. I was like, we need one more season. But now since they've revived X-Men, maybe they'll give us our Spider-Man revival. I'm just hoping to see that Spider-Man in Across the Spider-Verse. It would really suck if they did not do that. Number 2, this is what I was saying we're gonna get back to, is Workaholics. This is a show, I'm telling you, this is not my kind of show. I've always been this way. Like, if it's super raunchy, there's a whole lot of language, if it's like overly sexual for no reason, it's not my thing. I just don't like it. But for some reason, one of my friends was like, oh, my brother showed me the show, it's pretty funny. I was over at his house, and we were just hanging out, eating supper, and we watched like 2 or 3 episodes of this show. And the first episode I didn't really care for. A couple days go by, and I kept thinking about certain scenes and stuff, and I'd start laughing. I was like, you know what? I might watch that show. And now it's probably one of my favorite shows. It's so funny. Most of it. Yeah, to be honest, there's still some episodes that are too much. There are episodes I did not like, because like I'm telling you, if it's too much of all that. And since then, I've watched Game Over Man, like I was saying. They have a podcast called This Is Important I listen to. They had a movie coming out, they got canceled. And I've just become fans of those guys. And yeah, that leads us to our number 1 pick, which is not even really that hard for me. That is the Harry Potter franchise. I just now got to watch it this year. Couldn't watch it as a kid. Just like some parents, like witchcraft and all this, which I feel like my parents weren't super strict on, because I was allowed to watch The Wizards of Waverly Place. But there was another family that I think had told my parents about some of the stuff in Harry Potter or something, and they were just like, no, you can't watch Harry Potter. But I finally got around to it, and I loved it. I loved all 8 movies. I'm reading all the books now. I'm almost done with the Half-Blood Prince. I've seen all the Fantastic Beasts movies now, and I'm Hufflepuff. That's me. I feel like there's not a whole lot to say about them. It's just like, I've watched all the movies, and like, I'm definitely probably gonna like watch some people play the game too, like my roommates, because I'm not a huge video game person. I might try it, I don't know, but Hogwarts Legacy, it looks sick. It seems like a really cool concept for a game. So the Harry Potter franchise I loved. Mainly the Harry Potter movies. The Fantastic Beasts movies are fine, but those 8 movies are such a great time. Like I said, now I'm reading the books. I'm really enjoying the books. I've only got 1 more left. So yeah, those are my top 10 things that I watched this year. So let me know what your favorite out of these 10 things are in the comment section below. Leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.